question always rears its head. So I don't think you've ever done press and someone's not asked you about it. How annoying is that for you that every time you go out there you're playing as well as you can? You can't change it with words. So going on record and saying that you're frustrated, it's never going to change it.
Yeah, that is a question that always pops up, and it's always Cipriani's not picked for the squad, but you know, I've not been in the squad for a little while now. You know, and I've just got to try and keep finding ways to show that I'm hungry, or show that, you know, I can provide what the England coaches want. But you know, for me, it was about coming back to Waston, having a successful season, and that was my main focus. And you know, everything for me was about the team, and that was the biggest thing that I could have, you know, been, especially in my first year. And I think the players in the group would have seen, you know, how unselfish in that way that I would have been. So that, for me, that's a good testament for me to have with a good group of guys. And I look forward to the pre-season of us really just driving forward as a group, and hopefully getting some more boys into that England squad.
I think the only thing you've ever said to me about that is, I think once you said, Lloydie, I just want to play well one more time for England.
Yeah, no, it would be nice.
Just to prove people wrong?
Just to start. No, I just want to start for England. But so does everyone who doesn't.
To prove a point, or?
Not to prove a point, just
that feeling.
Just kind of the feeling again. Because a lot of my interactions in the last couple of years were all off the bench, you know. And, you know, I pushed it as close as I could for that 2015 World Cup squad. And I remember I was the unlucky one to miss out and the last name not to get picked. And everyone was like, you got man of the match in 17 minutes in your last game. You know, it's tough on you not to get picked. But when you don't get picked, kind of that news is kind of just forgotten about, do you know what I mean? So for me, it doesn't, the fact is I've not played since 2015, and you know, that's frustrating, but if I can just keep trying to put Wasp top of the table, then that's the best thing I can do right now.
When you obviously burst onto that England scene in 2008, obviously you were following in the footsteps of Jonny Wilkinson. You're obviously very different characters. Was that difficult for you that people expected you to be Johnny Mark II?
Once again, I didn't really think about it. If people did think that, then, or maybe that's why the media was the way it was.
That's what they've got used to, isn't it?
I think they'd known from a young age that I wasn't the same sort of character, but you know, with the same sort of drive. Which, you know, ultimately it's about getting to the end result, isn't it? But yeah, it was just, I don't really think about or look back on that time. It was just all, for me, I was doing what I love, and it was, for me, it was meant to be. It was just the process. I was meant to sign and then play at Wasp and then get picked for England, and that's just how it went. There was no bumps, there was no nothing, and then obviously I got injured, and it was just a bit of an uphill battle from then. But yeah, it was, I don't know, it's hard. Like I said, there's just been no blueprint to my career. There's no one I can go and lean on and say, oh, how did you cope with it?
Yeah.
How did you deal with it?
If you'd had someone like that, do you think it would have been a lot easier?
Maybe it would have been easier. I've been working with Steve Black for like the last 4 or 5 years, and he helps me out a lot, and you know, mentally, just to be focused and have that consistency of performance, which is something you have to have when you're at Sale, something you have to have when you're at Wasps, all for different reasons, but it has to be there. So that's just something I've been focusing on, and you know, I can hang my hat on that.
I think you've also gone on record and said the closest to a regret maybe was leaving Wasps in 2010. Was that because you thought maybe you should have stayed? And
yeah, potentially stayed and
fought it out
a bit. But you know, I was directly told that I was surplus to the requirements of England, and every game, every report, there was just people outside my house, press. It was just a lot. I was just like, I need to go away, and I thought I'd be able to go to Australia and do it quietly, but obviously, you know, it didn't end up being that way.